Hi friends, this is Chris with Josephine's Designs. I am back. I filmed one of the other videos first, and I share why I'm in a new spot in this part of the house and what's been going on. But I said I would come back now in this video and explain how we are. We are fine. The storms were all around us. It was crazy. There were tornadoes all around us. In places that we frequent all the time, and the damage was significant. In one shopping area alone, it's over $2 million worth of damage. That doesn't count all the other tornadoes. And from what we hear so far, it looks like, I hope this is still true. This was at noon today. They said there have been no deaths, but just some minor injuries, stitches, things like that. There was a truck we literally saw that was driving down the road, got caught in the tornado, got flipped on its side, and then it somehow flipped back, and he was able to just keep driving on down the road. That's in an area where we have friends that live. And then, oh goodness, I mean, we have friends that live, and most of them, one of my husband's employees was texting with my husband when the first storms came through. And what happened was, so we live here in the middle of Texas. And then from the coast, warm air was coming, and from the north, a cool front was coming in. And so the mix of that makes that wind swirl when you have that happen. And so we had all kinds of results. We had high winds where we were just southeast of us because it was moving northeast at one point. A line of storms, the cold front side, there were egg size hail was reported and 60-mile-an-hour winds, and that is right where we are. There is still a debate whether there was a tornado here in our area. I don't know. We did not hear anything. We did hear, we have a siren that the town put in on the outer edge here. We can hear it, but with such high winds, I never heard it. As we were shutting all the, battening down all the shutters and doing all of that, my husband was, getting, my youngest daughter went out and got our startlings, and we're getting those put under, where they couldn't get damaged, Lord willing. And then my husband was, taking care of critters and anything major, like tools or anything that could be out, or, anything, any equipment. And then he had to lock up all the birds and all the poultry and all the stuff, all the critters. And so they all did fine. We didn't lose one. Everybody was safe and sound. The ones that won't normally go in at night, they went in. They were very happy to go in. They're safe little coops, and then are in the yard. And then we have a coop with multiple yards attached to it. And then we have some that live in a old floor bird cage that one of my daughters had given me, but my birds didn't like, kind of thing. So we moved it out there, and we have 3 chickens that we raise from chicks, and so they live in there. And they had gotten in the habit of never going in. They would go on top where there was like a little jungle gym for my birds. And they were in like that yesterday. So the first storm came through, and we were watching winds with our flags flying full on all day. And then the storm came, the first storm hit, and it was very windy. It was insanely windy, not a lot of rain, and we didn't get any hail. And we were like, wow, a lot of lightning, things like that, thunder, the whole bit. And I mean, good amount of rain, but not a lot. And we're kind of dry right now. And then it got just bone still. So if you've grown up around hurricanes, you know that when it gets that still, after the storm comes in, you're in the eye, you're in the middle of the storm. But in this one, we were in layers of storms. So we were just like, okay, we ate dinner because I cooked dinner ahead, because if we lost power, I didn't, I wanted to make sure we could feed everybody. So anyways, so we all ate. And then our daughter studied. She had to go study while she could get, she was afraid we'd lose power. So she wanted to work on her computer. And then my husband and I can't remember, I think we watched a movie, and then we watched, a show that we like that's kind of funny. And then, we went to sleep. We were sleeping in here thinking, okay, in case we can hear anything. So we went to sleep, and then soon as we did, I heard this horrible thunder and then lightning, and we lost electricity. Um, and I was like, wow. And then I came back in. I was in the other room. I came back in, and I could hear hail, and it was pretty small. And so, but we had hail, and anyways, and I think my husband he had already gone to sleep. So then we waited a little bit longer. And the funny thing is, the light behind here kept coming on full blast. So my husband was like, "Can you turn the light off?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll turn it off." Then we start to go to sleep again, and I wasn't asleep yet. He wasn't quite either, because the lightning was insane, and the thunder was the storm was right on top of us, and we could hear the winds. And then all of a sudden, we really had, like 15 minutes later, another big amount of hail. And they were about like that. They're like large marble size. And I was just praying, because our roof needs to be re-roofed, and we're trying to just squeak it out as long as we can. And I tell you what, I was just so thankful we had brought our plants in. Um, but what's really interesting is I still have Swiss chard in the garden from last year, and then a lot of dandelions. And which I grow dandelion. My husband's always like, "Why do you grow dandelion? People like get rid of that stuff, but you grow it." I said, "I know, because I like the leaves, and I like the flowers. Flowers for tea, leaves for greens, and when you're cooking." And I was surprised when I went out this morning. They were all okay. They were fine. But I do know if we had put those startlings in, they would be gone. The only thing we know, and I'm so thankful we didn't do, is some of this stuff we seed ourselves. I think if we had put the seeds in, it would all be gone. Our neighbor had seeded his fields, so I'm sure they're going to have to reseed. It was a lot of rain. My husband went out this morning finally, because he looked outside some last night, and I was just like, "Don't go out." He said, "Yeah, I'm not going to go out, because you can step on hail and slip." And I was just like, "Let it go." He's like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And so he went out this morning, and he did like the complete, we had lots of limbs and, things like that. No big deal, that we expect. And we have a ton of trees. And so, a lot of them he's planted. Some are pecan trees. And we had a small orchard on the property when we bought it. And anyways, lots of limbs, lots of leaves, things like that. That's not a big deal. But when I went out and I looked at the garden area, everything was fine. So, I mean, in light of what some people were dealing with, I think we did have probably wind gusts that were pretty near 60 mile an hour. We've had at least 50 mile an hour before. That's what it felt like here last night. Um, my husband had taken down all the flags and the flag poles, before it all hit. And so, it was, if it's a tornado, you got to have a place to go. So we're safe. We're okay. All critters are okay. All vehicles are fine. One of my husband's employees, her husband's car was completely just beaten by hail. There just was a lot of damage, guys. Electricity's out in parts of Round Rock, and I'm sure in other places. I'm sure in New Braunfels, because there seemed to be a lot of action down there, which we are in between Austin and San Antonio. So we sometimes get a blend of all the news. And but we're thankful. It's a gorgeous day. I think it's been in the high 50s, so we were getting really warm, so it cooled down. My husband actually had on sweatpants and a sweatshirt. I was like, wow, because he never does that. He's always like, it's too hot, And of course, in jeans and a long sleeve shirt. So definitely, but it's beautiful. It's a beautiful day. And I talked to a friend with DEK. They're okay. Houston is okay. That's where she is, and my sister. And I talked to my brother-in-law, and he said, "No, we're all good." I said, "Great." And I haven't heard from my brother. He's Central Texas, a little bit further north, but I think they escaped a lot of it. And my sister-in-law would always call me if there was something. So I haven't heard from her yet, but I did text them to say, "How's everybody doing?" So, and all of our kids are fine. Our daughter and son-in-law will go out to their property and see what happened there. I hate to say, they were really in a bad line for where their property is. They live in one town. Their property's about, maybe half an hour away, maybe a little bit longer. and that they may have gotten, and they have cattle and goats out there, and they've a barn built and like a mini house built out of a shipping container. So I haven't heard from her yet. So I'm assuming, praying that everything's okay. They know their neighbors, so I imagine if anything went wrong, hopefully the neighbors would have called. And they have like a guard dog and a donkey, donkey that guards and all that kind of stuff. So lots of babies do. So I bet they're going to find some babies born. Barometric pressure makes all that stuff change. So anyways, but that's it for Central Texas. So now I'm going to be sure to put in the notes. If you don't want to hear what happened in the storm, you could jump ahead to now about 11 minutes. So let me share with you my planner. So this is my Farmhouse Planner. I was so frustrated. I filmed all of these. I uploaded to YouTube, so I deleted off my phone. It deleted everywhere. It deleted and they were already loaded to YouTube. So I don't know what happened. YouTube didn't show up. Other things were deleted that I never deleted. Something went crazy. I have a Norton antivirus, so I know it's not. I checked that to make sure something was wrong, but who knows? So I'm going to come back and share with you what I did. All right, so let's see. So just like in the other planner that I reshot and videoed the first time through is the same thing, I did not do last week. So this is our family calendar. So I will go back in and fill some things in. And this is from the color box kit from DEK Designs. And all that information is listed below with all the discount codes. So here is one color theme with that kit, and I love it. It's pink, it's pretty, it's like kind of that dusty pink feel and rosy pink, and just so happy and pretty and all that. And then you come to the other part of that kit, and then they add in all the tans, still with those pinks. But I really love these color box kits. They're some of my favorite. You order by the sheet and not by the kit. And so this is from my one of my DEK subscription boxes. And so I always, have the notepad, and then I have lots of different notepads, but I threw that one in here. And yeah, so I really, really loved how this turned out. I love the washi page. I always try to buy 2 of those whenever I buy these. I love these. I don't know why I'm only getting 1. I should get 2 of those because I love the movie theater marquees. They work beautifully in the Saturday, Sunday of this particular planner. Let me see. And then you, of course, you have your weekend, and then I use the eyelet scallop, and then I use the half scallops. And so I really love how they look. So it has, in this particular portion of the kit, it had gray, and then, of course, those pinks, and then it had tans. So I kind of focused my colors, in a particular way. And so I really, really love it. And so in here, you're supposed to write your menus, but I don't, because I do something else. I use a menu planner, and I put that out for my family. So in here, I just write down if we have any big events, anybody needs to check anything out. So definitely was late last week. Still a little bit late this week, but it is, it's stickered up. And so I'm going to go in and write everything out. And I'm really happy with it. So I'm so sorry again. I don't know what I'll be doing on the next video, but we'll find out here soon. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, thank you to everyone who checked on us. Thank you to everyone who prayed for us. It was a ride, I will tell you that much. Having grown up on the coast where you have hurricanes, I have to be honest, I'd rather deal with hurricanes than tornadoes, because tornadoes just pop up, and hurricanes you plan for in advance. You can get out of the way. So, but I was sharing with the design team for DEK, or the PR team, that when we had a big hurricane hit when I was a kid, about 5, we lived on a golf course. So the one of the things you get out of a hurricane are tornadoes. So the house withstood the hurricane winds. It did not withstand the floods. It did not withstand the tornado, because a tornado, say here's one side of the street, here's another side of the street, there's the street, it would come across and bounce back and forth, and it would hit like every other house. And we were in Houston visiting my grandmother and great-grandmother, and our neighbors right across the street from us, they were in Houston visiting family as well. So when we finally were given the go that they could get into Corpus Christi, the daddies went, and then our aunt and uncle way up in West Texas came and got my sister and I. We were young, and so we went and stayed with them while the moms went down. And it took a couple of weeks, and then they moved whatever they could salvage into an apartment near, and then the dads were trying to get builders and all that kind of stuff. But we lived in those apartments a good 6 months, and that's how long it took to get things rebuilt. And literally right before my parents sold the house, the wiring wasn't great, and it caught on fire when we were visiting in the laundry room. And the year prior to that hurricane, our house had burnt down. So my mom was like, "That's it, we're moving. That's it." They had built their retirement home in Wimberley, and in the hill country on the first green of the golf course again. And my mom was like, "I'm done. I'm not living in this house anymore." And I don't blame her. She wanted to go, be in Wimberley. It's such a fun town, and Corpus just meant work. And so, which is where they had my dad's practice and things like that. So, he would go down and work X amount per, month. And then, when we were there, when we moved to Wimberley, we would help take care of the dogs and things like that. We had come back from Boston, and my husband had gone back to school. We couldn't afford to live in our house, so we leased it out. And then we would take care of their house and the dogs and whatever they needed done. My husband would mow the lawn, do all that kind of stuff. And anyway, so we had learned about storms and what to do and what not to do. And then, trying to rebuild the house. They had rebuilt the house twice by the time the hurricane hit. The first time when the house burnt, so then they rebuilt it. It was a brand new build when we moved in. My dad knew the builder. It was like a house that had been built, and we would call them a spec house now. And so my dad, bought the house, and then it burned down. They rebuilt it, and then we lived in those same apartments for I can't remember how long. It wasn't that long. And then we met lifelong friends. And then a year later, the hurricane hit, and they rebuilt again. We went back to the same apartments and lived in. And yeah, I mean, it's just what it was. So hurricanes to me are easier than tornadoes. And we have tornado alarms, like I said earlier, but I could not hear the tornado alarm. My husband said when he was out putting up the birds, he heard it barely, but the winds were so strong. It was just blowing. We couldn't hear the sound. It wasn't blowing towards us, so we couldn't hear it. And it's right down the road from us. It's less than a mile. So that tells you how strong the winds were. Yeah. So anyways, but we're safe. We are so sorry for everybody who's going through such difficult times. We were praying for everyone yesterday, and all we knew about was Texas, Louisiana. Today, it's affecting Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and parts of the Florida Panhandle. So they're all in our prayers today. We actually have a weather channel right before this hit. We finally got a weather channel. We just use apps. We don't have cable or anything. And it was a freebie, so it was wonderful timing. But the worst part today was we watched all the damage on it. And it was just like, finally had to turn off and tell my husband, "Okay, we can't watch this anymore." He was like, "Yeah, let it just, it was just, I get really sad when you see things like that, because I remember those things. I remember when our house burnt down. I knew it. And I remember when the hurricane hit. And I remember, are my turtles okay? I had little tiny turtles in a little turtle container, and of course they were gone, and that kind of a thing. They're just things like that I remember. And so anyways, and I remember the house. I remember all of that. And it was just very, very sad, very sad. So seeing that yesterday was, very concerning. And of course, we've had tornadoes out here. And so, but I heard that they were doing all kinds of inspections in our areas by helicopter to see where the actual tornadoes were. At one point, we were hearing there were 4, 1 into Braunfels, and then 3 around us. And so, but there were over 16 sightings, which could really mean there were one sighted many times. And so, I hope we didn't have 16, but there were definitely a lot of sightings. And, but we are still praying for everybody who's gone through loss and is cleaning up a lot today. Please be in prayer. Check if you want to see how you can help any of these families. There are whole subdivisions without, electricity, which means probably no water if they're on city water. You have to have electricity to pump the water usually. Um, at least, well, we do because we are on a well. I don't know. I don't know how city water works, but anyways, so check with your local Salvation Army and, FEMA, things like that to see if there's anything you want to do, if you want to help. And, yeah, I mean, it's hard to believe today could be such a pretty day after yesterday and last night. But, those storms come and there's joy in the morning. And, that's hopefully there wasn't too much sadness and loss, but we do know that there are people that have been affected. So, anyways, and the main thing is, as far as we know, nobody was killed. And we hope it stays true. So, praise God. All right, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this. Sorry I came back at the end, but yeah, I appreciate everybody's prayers and concern, and most importantly, thank you for being here, giving your time up and praying and checking on us. We so appreciate it, and we did not get anything planted yet, so we will be doing that hopefully this weekend. Tomorrow's Wednesday. We will be taking care of grandbabies tomorrow. And I've been working on this class, so that's been my project in the house. And I knew that storm was coming. And I've always told my husband, don't plant till the end of March. And he just was busting a gut. We had freezes. We had all kinds of stuff. We had these storms. So I think maybe he won't plant till April next year, but we'll see. We will see. But all right, guys, lessons learned, right? Life has to teach us. So I will put up pictures, like I said in the other video, of this new corner. It still has got bits and pieces in places. It's not 100% done. So I may wait and put them up on Thursday when I can finish these couple of areas off. Plus, I have to have help hauling all that out. My knees cannot do it. I cannot lift. I can lift the small things and I can fill them and scoot them, but I cannot lift them to move them out. So with all that was going on out in the pastures, they planted 5 fruit trees. They filled all the molasses buckets from the cattle that we got for free. And they were putting holes in those and filling them with soil out in the pasture and then up here in my garden area. So we are, it's just an interesting time right now. I still have to go out and think through what else I want to do with all of my buckets from my previous gardens. I think I have a couple I still need to clean out. And then I kind of go from there. And we're just all of us trying to figure out what we're going to do. And I think that this weekend is when that'll happen. My husband's been very, very busy with work. He was supposed to take a work trip next week. That was just crazy schedule. Sounds like they're probably not going to go, which I'm so thankful for because we have so much work to get done. Our daughter-in-law's brother is going to come back over and help on Saturday morning, and it's his birthday that afternoon. And we told him, of course, you need to spend time with your family. And then he texted today, well, I can come in the morning. And so we were just like, oh, that's wonderful, pardon me, he's just getting his license. So I always text his mom and him. I always make sure just, to be proper. And anyways, and we love their family so much. They're such a precious family. We've known them for many, many years. We all homeschooled our kids together. And anyways, in our small town. So it's kind of neat. We did some things together, but we really did different things. Our family did because we came from different areas of Texas. So, we knew we wanted to go to San Antonio. We knew we wanted to go to San Marcos, places like that. And then eventually we ended up going to Bastrop. So anyways, yeah, so it's kind of neat. He's going to come. He's such a sweet young man. And I told my husband, I said, we just need to pay him to come every Saturday. He can come. And my husband looked at me and I said, I think that's fair. I think that would help you. You wouldn't feel so overwhelmed. My husband's been having problems with his back and all kinds of stuff. And I said, I think you would feel more productive. And because he's building a deck and in our prayer garden. And then we want a deck between my cottage and his office and all that kind of stuff. So I think that, he's a very strong young man, a just sweet Christian young man. And we just so appreciate him so much. And with our daughter here and my husband and I, we can always run him back and forth. He'll be getting his driver's license. He's already got his car. He showed us this car, from distance. And yeah, and then afterwards I took a by his sister who's not been feeling well, and she and her husband and son, and so they love eggs. So we shared some eggs with them. So it's really an amazing family, just a very, very sweet family, and we're always so appreciative. We love our daughter-in-law, and so we love our family, and yeah. So all right, guys, that's it. I think I chatted more than I did anything, but yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you did, like I said, subscribe, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment. I think I'm gonna have to hire someone to figure out what's going wrong with my settings and comments and stuff like that. So if you guys know anybody good, let me know. I've in the past looked for somebody to help um, process some of that for me, but we're still pretty small. I can still do it. When we were growing so much for a while there with Bible journaling camps, yeah. So when I come back Thursday, I will film the War Room journal, prayer journal, and then I will then probably put up for Friday a what's next. And what comes next, we'll also be talking about, we didn't do our spring Bible journaling camp, so I'm going to combine those our winter, is I'm going to combine the winter and the spring together, and we will probably have that sometime in April, after April 15th. I hope everybody can know, maybe into the first week of May, we'll see, because we do tax work, so it's always a little stressful. And yeah, and I think that we still have the ongoing health things here too, so we're working through all of that. But I am determined to get us on, have better nutrition, make homemade breads, and all that kind of good stuff. So we're really working hard on that. And I've already gotten my ferments going. We already have ferments in the fridge. I'm going to start some tonight so they can begin fermenting this while we're gone tomorrow. And just trying to eat healthier and healthier food. And once the gardens come back in, most of all processed goes away. So yeah, it's always a big thing. And it's really great. We really like that. So, and I wasn't sure because usually Thursday nights we grab something to eat on the way home, but I have some pesto, and we may just come home and have pesto pasta with tomatoes, and that is always a hit. So you know how that goes. You just kind of have to be flexible, and easygoing, and that's usually a good thing. So, okay, friends, I did do a menu plan in the previous, she's in her aprons. If you want to see how I kind of think through how I plan my meals, I will be coming back, not this week and probably not next week, but the week after that. And if you guys are interested, leave a comment. I will share new recipes I'm going to be trying. So, still waiting on a fermenting recipe book that's supposed to be coming out by another YouTube channeler person. And then, because I want to expand my ferments. It's not really hard to ferment. It's just that sometimes I just go brain dead. Like, what am I going to put in here? What am I going to do? What am I, I just like, oh. And so I just really can't think like, how do I want to do this? But I think I want to try fermented onions. I just got a big bag of purple onions, so I want to try that. I'm going to try to grow onions. My husband and I will have to run out. We haven't seen any starts yet. So of that, we had bulbs to plant. I'm going to try to plant some bulbs, see if they come up. They may come up. We still have an onion growing from last year. My husband saw it in the garden. And I said, you need to pull that out. And he goes, oh, no, it's not ready. And I'm like, it's more than ready. Pull that baby out. So anyways, because now we plant starts and then they come back. And so right now we just have the little bulbs, but I'm not going to waste them. I'm going to plant them. I've got garlic too. So, we may be harvesting in like November, which is totally fine with me. That would be fine too. All right, friends, I pray your day's blessed, creative, and lovely. Sorry, so long-winded, but lots of stuff going on here. And it's always busier on the property this time of the year. So, okay, friends, y'all be safe. And I'll be talking to y'all soon. Thank y'all for stopping by so much. Love you. Bye-bye.